All right. What is up? I guess YouTube people, I don't know, whoever I'm talking to here. We have a very special, exciting for me. I mean, this is a whole new adventure, a whole new world here. But we're here to announce my departure from the stage of competitive bodybuilding. So, yeah, I don't even know where I start with this. This wasn't a decision that came quickly. This is something that's been on the back of my mind for, well over a year. And I think over the last few months, it kind of started to creep into my mind as more of a reality. It wasn't a decision that came quickly. It's something I could feel that's been in the back of my mind for a while. And I felt that really, it really became apparent to me when I was still winning shows and it really wasn't making me excited anymore. And the idea of competing at this year's Olympia really didn't make me excited anymore. I remember how I felt, my first 2, 3 Olympias, and I was so excited to get there, so excited to compete, and so excited to be part of that experience. And that wasn't something that really felt like a goal that was in my mind of like something that really made me excited. And it was something that I felt like I'd kind of done, and that I was starting to get anxious and antsy for the next phase of my life. Bodybuilding is something that is so all-consuming, and I've been doing this for 15 years. Like, I'm only 33, 32, almost 33, but I started doing this when I was 18. So, if you put it into context of someone that started competing when they're 25, that's competing until you're 40, I've done almost 30 bodybuilding shows. I've been pro for a decade. So this is kind of a venture that, like, I feel like I've done and experienced, and I've done at the highest level. I've won 6 shows. I've been second at the Arnold. I've been, in the top 10 of the Olympia a handful of times. And it was just not something that I was feeling an excitement to do anymore. And when you pair that with the potential health consequences associated with bodybuilding, it was just getting harder and harder in my mind to justify, if that's the right word, what I was doing, and when you're younger, when you're 20, 25, even getting up to 30, mortality and living a long life doesn't really seem like something it seems so far away still, And as I started to get older, and into my 30s, and, Melissa and I are at the phase where we want to have kids, the thought of the risks that I was putting myself in, when you're also pairing that with like maybe a lack of desire and passion for actually competing, it started to really weigh heavy on me. And this isn't to say like, look, when I got into bodybuilding because I love training. I still love training. I still love going to the gym. I'm never going to stop going to the gym and training hard and, having fitness goals and different things that I want to pursue as, a fitness venture. But that phase of my life of being, 280 pounds plus 99% of the year, and the chemical side that comes with it, was just not something that really felt like me anymore. I really could feel I was pushing myself through the motions, and I can live like a robot. I can do this, eat my 6 meals a day and train hard and do all these things. But it just didn't quite feel the same. And, something Chris said when I was talking to Chris about this, is he said, you can really feel like the body will follow what the mind feels. And I really felt that's where I was getting to the part where, my body just didn't want to be doing this anymore because my mind didn't want to be doing it anymore. Obviously it was a decision that wasn't easy to pull the trigger on, when you're having these thoughts, but it's something I've done my entire adult life, and change is scary. Change is never easy. Moving on to a new phase of your life is never easy. But, I could tell, definitely over the last 6 months, year plus maybe, my quality of life and my sleep quality, my mental health and like just level of excitement about life had really diminished, you know. And it was something that felt like the hardest decision ever to make until I made it. And then it felt like it was the easiest decision I'd ever made in my life. And I know the day I really like made the decision, and had a conversation with my mom and Melissa and, people close to me about it, I went to bed that night and I slept better than I'd slept in a fucking long time, and that was really something that affirmed my decision in my mind. If I'd gone to bed that night and been up all night, like, shit, am I making a mistake? Am I making the right decision? Maybe I would have, had some second thoughts, but I went to bed that night and I slept at such peace, and it was also like a level of excitement, a peace and excitement for what's to come. Like bodybuilding, like I said, is so all-consuming. It really becomes like such a narrow trajectory and a narrow path of what the scope of your life can be. And, when I've done that and I've lived that path, and I'm very proud of what I've accomplished in bodybuilding, but I'm also very excited and eager to do other things in my life. I'm excited to get my weight down and feel more athletic. I'm excited to be able to run again. I'm excited to get down on the floor and play with my dogs or my kid or whatever, and not take 10 minutes to get back up, Be like, babe, help me up off the floor, Like, these are things that I pine for after 15 years of being big and, being heavy.
I feel like the reaction that you got from everyone was pretty telling and pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't, I feel like sometimes you tell people something and you're like, oh, is everything okay? Are you all right? Like, what are you going to do? Everyone has been like,
very excited.
Full smiles, congratulations, this is so exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and like, sometimes people don't know how to react, so then they act kind of weird. They're like,
yeah,
shit, like, is this, but no one's done that.
Yeah.
Which is pretty telling.
Yeah.
And everyone is like so excited for you, which is probably making it easier for you to be super excited for yourself too.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, obviously, like she said, when I, had these conversations or broke this news with, my close friends and family and stuff like that, the response was all positive. When I talked to Fuad about it, or I talked to my mom or Melissa or Chris or Mark or, Julian or any of my friends or family or anything like that, like, it was always a very happy response and excited response for, it's like, fuck, man, like, this is so exciting. Like, there's so much like more life and so many more exciting things you can do now. And I want to make this very clear too, that I was not pushed out of bodybuilding. I have no health issues. I have no injuries. And that was actually something that was one of the things that actually led me to make this decision, was still being healthy and still being able-bodied. I never want to get to the point where I'm pushed out of bodybuilding because I have a serious health complication or I have a serious injury that's impairing my ability to compete. I want to walk out of bodybuilding and look and be optimistic about the life that I have after it, and know that there's still things I can do, and I can still be active, and I can still be athletic, and I can still be healthy, and I'm not worried about, long-term health complications. I'm very confident that my health is still very good, and that will only make it better from here on, getting some weight down and, doing things, with more, a more athletic longevity sense in mind.
Do you feel younger now than you did like a week ago?
I mean, mentally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like for a long time at the end of your career, you kept saying like, you felt old, not in your body, but like you just felt old. And now I feel like you're acting like, like your age, like you're 30,
Yeah, well, I think that comes with...
He's a teeny bopper.
I feel like that comes with a sense of excitement and optimism and
Hope for the future.
Hope and relief, I think, a major feeling I felt, was excitement, hope, and relief. Like, I love bodybuilding. I always will. I'm not planning on departing the world of bodybuilding. I still want to do the podcast. I've looked at the idea of maybe doing some judging in bodybuilding. I'm still going to be, if anything, I'll probably be more active in social media because there's so many new things that I'm excited to partake in and show, and hope that, people that follow me and like me and watch me will be excited to watch as well. Whether it's, a different style of training, or if it's getting back into doing some sprint and running training, whether it's the changes in my nutrition or supplementation that I'm doing to aid in my, new venture and my new goals, in fitness and health and stuff like that. I think there's a whole new world of things that I can show and, get excited to be part of, and that, it's not just showing my same bodybuilding workouts that I've been showing for the last, X amount of time, or the same 6 meals a day that I've been showing the same amount of time. I mean, this is a whole new world for me. And it's a whole new world for everybody that follows me, so.
I think when you said it's all consuming, it's like you picture your head and there's no room for anything.
Yeah.
No room for future plans, for excitement, for because everything is consumed by you getting through this right now.
Yeah.
And now that that's gone, it just feels like there's so much free energy to do things, anything. And I don't know, you seem way more energized.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously, from the physical standpoint of that, when you're not, spending your entire day eating and eating to support the training that you're doing and stuff like that, there's obviously a physical aspect of literally having more energy. But then mentally, from that of the sense of relief and excitement and optimism, like I said before, that also does kind of give you a reinvigoration and excitement about life, So, obviously there's a sense of sadness to it in that it's a departure, and it's kind of a death of a part of my life that, I'm moving on from, or a departure from that life that I've lived.
It's not a death, it's just you're putting it to the side.
Well, yeah, I don't even know what the word for it is. It's
Well, I feel I kept talking, and I was oh, he's going to be on to bigger and better things. But it's not going to be bigger or better. It's just going to be different.
It's new.
And there's this whole side of your life that has so many beautiful memories, and that has made you who you are today.
Yeah.
And that it's
No,
not dead because it's still in you.
Yeah.
It's still going to drive all your decisions and all your knowledge and everything
Sure.
in the future. But there's just now room for different things.
Yeah. Yeah, and like she said, obviously, there's 15 years of, knowledge and things that I've accrued in this world that I'm grateful for. There's a lot of memories I'm grateful for. I'm very, I don't have any regrets of bodybuilding whatsoever, and I'm happy that I got to the point where I could walk away with it saying that. I did have that sense in the back of my mind that if I continued doing that, or if I did this Olympia, or if I did next season, that I was going to start feeling regretful about doing what I was doing, and whether it's from a health standpoint or an injury standpoint, or just a mental health and enjoyment standpoint, which I was really where I was starting to get now. So I wanted to walk away with it having fond memories and, good memories, and dogs outside, and a sense of joy and happiness looking back at my bodybuilding career, knowing that I didn't walk away from it too late, or that I did one show too many, or that, I kept training 1 year that I caused a, quad tear, a pec tear, an issue with internal health. And it really became to a point where I was so hyper-focused about fear of the future that it was just sucking me dry of any enjoyment of actually doing what I was doing. And I think bodybuilding is awesome. And I think that if you love bodybuilding, you should be a bodybuilder, and I am very thankful for what I did in bodybuilding and what it's given me. It's given me a great life. It's given me, I've met tons of people, and those are things that I'm very thankful and happy for. But, one chapter opens and one chapter closes, and whatever the fucking saying is, and yeah.
But that's the best thing about being a human. You get to do and be multiple things in a lifetime.
Yeah.
People that get stuck, that's the people that end up staying for too long, and then they leave and they don't get to look back with
Fun.
happiness,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You deserve to have that, and I feel by you making this choice right now, you're going to.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing, to be honest.
So yeah, I guess that's really all there is to say on that. I mean, it's a brave new world out there that I'm very excited to explore.
Tell them about your overwhelming grocery
Oh, yeah.
this morning.
Well, now obviously that I'm not like eating in a robotic fashion of like 6 exact planned meals every single day and this, everything so planned. This is very new to me. I've eaten the exact same way for a decade and a half. And we went to the grocery store this morning. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck I like to eat. Like, I actually have no idea. Like, I don't know what foods I really like, in terms of like daily eating food. Like, look, I know what restaurant food or I like McDonald's, but like, this is not what I'm gonna eat every day, especially with the goal in mind of like, and this is something that I said too, when I was talking to Matt or to Dom, I can't remember who I was talking to. And it's like, it started to be a very collision of ideals when like, I'm someone that wants to live to be a fucking billion years old. Like I want to live as long as I can possibly live. And there becomes a point in bodybuilding where
Well, and you want to live as healthy.
I want to have
as
good
you
quality
can
of life forever. And obviously when you pair that with a longer career in bodybuilding, there starts to be kind of like a clash of ideals here, You know that the longer you go, the longer, the more risk there is for long-term health issues, or even just I might still live to be 95 years old, but what's that quality of life going to be? My quality of life at 60 to 90 might be quite poor. And that's just something that terrified me, to be honest, especially when the idea of having kids is on the plate. I don't want to be a 30-year-old dad where it's like, my kids are, young kids and or adult kids or teenage kids or whatever. And my quality of life,
You want to keep up with them.
yeah, my quality of life is not great. I don't want to be walking around with, internal organ health issues or, fucking knees that are so bad that I can't walk, like these are not things that I want as part of my life, and maybe if it was at a point in bodybuilding where I felt like there was still things I wanted to accomplish, I would be willing to put that on the line a little longer to scratch that itch. But I don't feel that want or that desire anymore to do that,
You've accomplished so much.
I mean, honestly, I accomplished a lot more than I ever set out to in bodybuilding, and I think it's sometimes very hard when you're in it to look at that in retrospect, because it's always like more, more, more. That's how we are as humans. It's like you accomplish one goal, it's on to the next, which is great. But I got to a point where my next goal wasn't bodybuilding anymore. I'd done all the things I'd done in bodybuilding, and it wasn't like the next goal in bodybuilding didn't make me as excited as what the next phase in life could hold for me, And I can honestly say with 100% certainty, and maybe people would, battle me on this, but I know myself and I know how I feel about it, that even if I was to go to this year's Olympia and place better than I've ever placed, like I've placed 7th, say I came 6th. I don't know how realistic that is, but we'll speak in hypotheticals. Even if I was to, I would not feel any different. It wouldn't make me more excited about bodybuilding. It wouldn't make me more excited to keep pushing myself and doing this to myself. It's something that I feel content with what I've done. I feel like I said, like I scratched that itch and I'm ready for the next chapter of life, There's so many things that I want to do that I haven't been able to do that I still want to do when I'm young. Like in terms of like when we go snowboarding in the winter, like every time I've gone, like when we went this winter, I was fucking terrified the whole time. I don't want to feel that. I want to go, I want to enjoy my trip. I want to snowboard at 100% and just like be happy to be there and enjoy the moment and not be like, oh, if I fall, I'm going to ruin a whole season of bodybuilding. It's like, these are things that I want in my life now, or whether it's to travel more or whether it's to, I've missed the last few hunting seasons with my dad because, it's right in the middle of the Olympia prep, and, when you have a dad that's not 35 years old, my dad's 75, like these are moments that I want to cherish because there's not a bajillion of them left, like these aren't, these are finite things that, I want to obviously be part of. So, just even small things like that, are things that I want to be able to dive into more and enjoy those moments more, and just live life more,
I also think it's hard to like step away when people are telling you that like you could be so successful. You know what I mean? Like when you have this idea of like, oh, you could be in the first call out, or you could win an Arnold, or you could get this far. It's really really hard to separate, like, just because you can succeed at something doesn't mean that you should try to.
Or that you want to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, that external validation almost, or like the idea of what our society thinks is success, it kind of clouds that. It's tough.
Yeah,
That's
like
why a lot of people I don't think leave when they're on top.
I think it's also easy to speak looking from the outside in of like what they would want, you know? Like if you're speaking like, oh man, like why would you do this? Like I would kill to be top 10 at the Olympia or win pro shows or things like that. And I completely understand that.
They also haven't done it.
But I've also,
I was gonna say at one point you would too.
I would too, but I've also done that now, you
Yeah.
know? And like I said, I don't think a bit higher placing at the Olympia or winning one or two more pro shows is going to make me feel any different on this. You know, I feel very ready and I feel very at peace about it. And, you know, like I said from the beginning, like how I've been sleeping, you know, just over the last week has really like reaffirmed that decision in my mind of like, okay, I'm making the right decision here. You know, I'm sleeping a lot more at peace. I'm waking up in the morning a lot more energized and optimistic and excited for the day and what new things I can do that day and this time that I've freed up to do other ventures, whether it's business stuff or, you know, new stuff physically or whatever it is, or even just fucking chores around the house that like felt very daunting because I'm trying to fit them in between a million meals a day and a training and a cardio and, you know, all these things, right? So, you know, their bodybuilding is awesome. It's done a lot for me, but there's a lot more things out there that I want to do and I'm excited to do and that life has to offer. So yeah, I guess I'm just rambling over the same things over and over at this point, but I guess that's where we're at now. It's been about a week since I really made this decision. Yeah.
Yeah, Thursday.
Yeah.
It was Thursday.
So about a week since I officially made this decision, you know, and it's a week already that I've been eating when I'm hungry and eating when I want to eat, and it's been very liberating.
The funniest thing was on Thursday night when you actually were like,
I'm good. Yeah. Rip the Band-Aid off. Yeah.
he looked at me and he was like, what do I do now? Do I eat? 'Cause he had just come home from the gym, like, I'm getting out his like post-workout meal, and he's like, do I eat? I'm like, well, are you hungry? And he was like, no. I'm like, then you don't need to eat right now.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah. So yeah, but I'm not going anywhere.
Show them your running shoes.
We should have that. But I'm not going anywhere. I'm still, you know, very excited to share this journey and transition in life outside of bodybuilding. You know, and I think there's going to be a lot of things that a lot of people will find a lot more relatable that I can show here, you know, in terms of balancing having muscularity and being strong, but also trying to be more athletic and fit and, you know, trying to eat in a way that is more conducive to normal life and a normal schedule and still doing things in your day that doesn't make your entire day around a routine of eating. You know, and things like, look, I still want to go to the Olympia and be at the expo and hang out with, you know, my friends and watch the show and stuff like that. I still want to be part of the podcast. I still want to be very much part of this industry, just not as a professional competitor. So yeah, I guess that's enough of that news for now. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody for the support you give me over the years. And I hope you continue to give and hope you're still interested to watch me and be part of this journey. And yeah, on to the next chapter of life. And thanks for tuning in, guys.